Y'all, welcome to Unearth with Shelly Hughes podcast. I'm Shelly Hughes. We have an amazing two-parter for this episode. We're going to have first part this week, part 2 next week. But in this podcast, we dig into the good, the bad, and the ugly of building a profitable, passionate brand. This week and next week, I'm joined by someone who doesn't just take photos. She builds confidence, she digs deep, and she really figures out for her clients from a strategic lens how to really help them build the business of their dreams. So I'm joined by Nichole Howard. She is the founder of Nichole MCH Photography. She helps ambitious entrepreneurs really show up as their brightest and best selves, not just in their lives, but also through photography. She has she has these packages that you can, kind of get coaching from her, but it's a package that is fully encapsulated coaching of understanding you, where you want your business to be, what your personal brand is, what your human design is. And then she's able to utilize that information to give you an incredible brand photo shoot that you can use these images forever. So what I love about the work that she does is she talks about how to work actually on your business instead of just in your business. And that's a really cool thing that I agree with the most. She's also the host of the Joymakerspodcast, where she explores what it looks like to run a values-aligned business, really with energy and intention. So, like I said, this is part 1 of this episode. Stay tuned for next week when we talk about part 2. But this was a doozy. We talk about, mindset, human design. We talk about client experience. We talk about what it's like to be female entrepreneur, what it's like to be a mompreneur. We get into just so many high-level strategy and then tactical stuff. So I'm really excited for you to listen in. Here it is. So we were chatting about, you come in and first thing you talk about is dogs.
Yeah.
Second thing we talk about is maternity leave.
Yes.
For female business owners.
Yes.
And what was the word that you used to describe how you dealt? I asked you, how did you deal with maternity leave as a female business owner?
Okay. I think I said I'm adapting. I really don't remember. Yeah. I said I was adapting.
I'm pretty sure that's
adjusting. I think I actually said something else first, which actually tracks with the mom brain. But and then I said, I'm like, adapting. It was like 2 words in one.
And there's a podcast coming out that I'm going to go really deep into this, but I have always struggled with, I don't think anyone can deny, and maybe they can, and maybe they'll get mad at me, but I don't think lots of people can deny that business is a man's game. The amount of masculine energy you have to put into the day-to-day is insane, right? It's negotiation, it's contracts, it's clearly explaining your high expectations, all in which then your body gets a little parasite and changes everything about you for a good 10 months and beyond.
Yeah.
And then you're trying, at least for me, I really struggle because I've always valued kind of masculine traits my whole life, which only at this point have I been really trying to value the feminine as well. But I would love to hear your experience, starting your business, getting to a point where, you wanted to grow your family, and then just what that looks like for you, what that story looked like for you.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful question because it's so multifaceted and so deep. And I love to go deep, so
I'm here.
Let's go. I would say that there's a lot of things that came up as you were saying that, and I love that you said that you.
That sweater.
I know. I'm like, oops, sorry, Newly. It's a rented sweater. Anyway, back to the question. So I started my business as a side hustle about 8 years ago. I got into it because I honestly had always had fascination with photography. However, I hadn't really dove into the art of it, or I never went to school for it. I didn't really have any exposure to it until I was gifted a camera at 30. And so that camera kind of changed my life, which is crazy because it opened up this world for me that was suddenly possible of I can do something I love every day. And interestingly enough, that feminine energy of flow kind of coincides with doing something you love. And we hear this a lot, I think, in just growing up. You can do anything you put your mind to. You do what you love. You won't work a day in your life. Well, I think that's bullshit. But I do believe that you can do something you love. And that's where some of that feminine energy comes in. And some of that flow comes in. Because that's what I found. And I was deeply immersed into the corporate world. I was on a track of, I was actively getting my PMP, which project management certification, during the time that I started to develop my side hustle and work full time. And I just got my master's in strategic communication. So I was on a track. I was I'm just going to build my corporate life. And getting this camera, it just shifts something in me inside completely, where I was actually, wait, I don't think I want any of that. And knowing what we know about society in general and how the corporate world in America specifically supports moms, right? When we have children, I knew that for me, if I wanted to continue to build, there was going to be an internal struggle that I was going to feel when I had kids eventually, if I had kids. And I always was kind of on the fence about that too, if I'm being completely honest, for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess super fast forward to where we are now. I'm 40. I had my first baby. I'm 3 years into running my business full time. And I think that what I've realized the most through this whole process is that there was an identity shift that had to happen for me when I shifted from being a corporate person to an entrepreneur. And there was a identity shift that had to happen for me when I shifted from being a entrepreneur to a mom and an entrepreneur. And both of those, the first one, I didn't resist. The first one I was fucking pumped about.
Yes.
Sorry, can we curse on the show?
For sure.
Sorry.
For sure.
I was all in, ready. By the time I went full time, I just knew in my bones that this was what I was supposed to do. And I had zero doubts. I had doubts and worries like a normal human being, but for some reason I had this feeling everything was going to be okay. If I just followed this path and if I just kept going in this creative direction, everything's going to be okay. Everything I had done up till now, I could apply in business. My project management skills, I could apply in business. The multi-million-dollar projects I led across global organizations that I worked for, I could apply in my business. My master's degree, I could apply. My psychology undergrad, I could apply it. I could use it still. This identity shift, I will say, is probably one I was not prepared for. And I think I resisted it a lot. And it's been a big growing opportunity for me. I would say that right now, it's all kind of relearning a little bit and seeing what works, what doesn't. Kind of like we did at the beginning of our businesses, right? What works and what won't.
What do you think was the hardest thing about, what was the hardest thing? I mean, we know the easiest thing. The easiest thing about being a mom is just just the love. And obviously the best thing about being a mom, I think everyone can agree, is just that insane amount of love, unconditionally, whatever.
Oh, it's wild.
Right? It's wild.
It's also so intense. Yes. It's also incredibly, incredibly intense.
Which now is so crazy.
Okay, how do you feel about that?
Just talking to my team yesterday, and I was saying we are not a family. I will never call us a family. It always pissed me off when at past jobs we're a family. We're a family. We love you. We support you. Work-life balance. And then they're why didn't you do this? Why?
But then they're bitter when you call because things went down at home, right? And you're going to be 20 minutes late or whatever's happening, and now you feel like you're a bad mom or you're a bad worker because that happened. When really it's the system that never supported you to begin with, right? And it was all it's
this facade of company culture that makes no sense. So I literally yesterday I was we are not a family because families love each other unconditionally. Right? Yeah. Families or
they're supposed to.
Or they're supposed to. Families love each other unconditionally, but you're only gonna like me if I continue to pay your paycheck.
Right.
I'm only gonna like you if you continue to do what you do. Right? So it's we are a team. We are working together towards a singular goal, right? We're a family, you can be your own thing and you can do your own thing. So yeah.
I was gonna ask you a question. So that's such I feel like that comes from such a masculine place too. And I love that you're saying that.
You got me.
So I'm curious. So as you're in this era of okay, I know you feel comfortable in your masculine. I can tell. But it maybe feels a little uncomfortable in your feminine. What do you feel is the feminine response to that? As you're going through this and as you're trying to team build and as you're trying to grow, how is that shaping how you build your team? Knowing that you want to infuse more feminine energy into it.
I hate this question because the answer is I don't know. So background, firstborn out of 2,
Me too.
I was amazing at school. I was certainly, and to this day, I'm not the smartest person in the room.
Same.
But I got pretty much straight A's. I knew I could work the system.
Yeah.
I did what I had to do to get to a really good school.
Yeah.
Excel in everything that I did. So
but I do love that you did.
I was always fascinated about this. And up until this point, it's so funny because I'm nominated and sponsored to be part of the Forum of Executive Women of Philly. And I was talking to the CEO. I sat next to her at the Most Admired CEO events that was hosted by the Philly Business Journal. And I admitted to her, I'm like, look, I hate going to women's events. I hate them.
That's so funny. I love them.
I'm
the complete opposite.
Can't stand them. And the reason is because I feel, maybe it's just because I'm uber sensitive about it. I feel that whenever I go to a women's event, all they talk about are the obstacles put in front of women. I remember this so vividly. I went to, I can't remember who sponsored it, but I went to this fireside chat, and it was a lawyer and someone else. I can't remember who the other person was, but the lawyer was talking about very, very hyper masculine industry. She was talking about the harassment that she went through. Wow. I do not discredit any of that, right?
Of course not.
But they kept talking about the obstacles that women had in front of them over and over and over again. And not once did they talk about biology. And I think my having kids in my outlook, and maybe I'll have to go back to your question, having kids in my outlook on women in business and really women working at all is our industry and just industry in general moved so fast. Yeah. Women had to go to work during war, right? Then, all of a sudden in the 50s, there was this feminine movement. Love the feminine movement, right? But our culture moved faster than our biology. Yeah. And I'm a little bit more conservative when it comes to government and keeping government smaller. That's just something about me. So I'm almost okay, I don't know what the answer is, but what I do know is women have to work a hell of a lot harder than men do to get to the same thing because our biology works against us in this modern time that we live in.
So do you think your feminine energy works against you in some ways, in the way that our cultural society has kind of really valued masculine energy for so long?
For sure. I almost want to learn from you a little bit.
Yeah.
Just the other day, I was talking to my team. Something went slightly awry, right?
Yeah,
and I was very clearly explaining my expectations. I was like, this is not where we're supposed to be. And I was speaking very directly.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
And then I apologized to them because I'm really sorry if I'm coming off as curt, but this is what, and then I went back and I was like, wait a second, why did I apologize for that? Right? And what I realized also is that whenever I use my masculine energy in past jobs, one time I remember my boss called me curt. And so that went in my mind, I'm like, okay, can't be direct. When my male counterparts can, right? So in this 3-second span, I was like, I need you to do this. Sorry, I'm being direct. And then right after the meeting, I was like, wait a second.
But I apologize.
Right? So I think I don't even know how to, I don't know if, I
love it. It's so hard.
I'd love to flip the question.
I love it.
Because I want to learn.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that you brought up so many important things about our history, about where we were before, we got to this place in 2025, about our society really putting an emphasis on masculine energy being what drives us forward. Yet women are supposed to be in the workplace and be feminine, but with masculine energy. And it's it sounds like you're well, how? It sounds like an oxymoron. It's what? How? That's you can't do that. So I've noticed for me, I've kind of going through this deconditioning phase of my life. I'm in my deconditioning era, I would say. And a lot of it is around what I say yes to, what I say no to, how I lead my team, and what I expect from myself. And also just in general, giving myself grace. If I say sorry after I am direct, okay, I did. But next time maybe I won't. And it's a practice, right? Like that's the grace I have to give myself. And that's feminine energy. I would say for me, like right now, I'm saying no a lot more, which is a hugely, I think, feminine thing to do. Because I think there's a culture, especially in business, of saying yes. You have to say yes. You have to say yes, or you're going to lose out on the opportunity. And it will absolutely never. Yeah, exactly. And
yes and figure it out.
Figure it out. Yep. Mm-hmm. And I came from a corporate background where there was a lot of men saying yes all the time. And I was the project manager who had to figure it out. And I would get so pissed off because I was like, we don't even have this product. We don't even have this product.
Doesn't exist.
And it doesn't exist and you sold it. What the? Yeah. So anyway. Yeah. And they're like, but figure it out. And then I would have to figure it out. And I was just like, it would just leave me in this place of like mass frustration. And sometimes it was liberating too, because it was like, like it does like lift the veil on a lot of things that you think are like everything's so together and it's really not. So, but I think like, honestly, it's like saying no, honoring like where I am in my life with my daughter and just saying like, it's okay. I'm gonna be okay if I say no to this. That's been a really big thing. As a generator, that's a really big thing. And I know we talked a little bit about human design before we hopped on the podcast. And I don't know if your audience is familiar at all with human design.
If you could give us a little,
like, I can give you a very
30-seconder. That'd be great.
So human design is a amalgamation of various like Eastern, I think philosophy. So there's like astrology in it. There's some Chinese, like, philosophy in it. There's chakra, energy for chakras before, I'm assuming. So like that Reiki energy from chakras. There's all these things kind of infused into it. And this idea that when we are born, a certain imprint is like kind of like imprinted on us. And it's giving us an energy type and a way to respond to the world and a bunch of other information that I'm not going to go into because it's a whole world. If you were to Google it, you'd be like, whoa, oh my gosh, or ask ChatGPT, like it's insane. But the idea is we all are designed differently. And we're all designed to function differently too in the world, even though the world is kind of linear, right? And everybody's on a 9 to 5. It's like not everybody functions from 9 to 5 the same way and isn't creative at the same hours and shouldn't be doing the same thing. Like you, Shelly, shouldn't be doing the same thing that Nichole is doing. Like we are built differently. And so it's basically a design that says, here's a roadmap for how to kind of navigate through life with a little more ease. And it'll inevitably kind of make you kind of question everything you've probably learned up until this point, right? There's a lot of deconditioning, like I was saying, involved. Just because a lot of the stuff we learned by first society, our parents, was well-meaning, but not necessarily the best for us, like individually, and how we should function. So like generators, for example, there's like 5 energy types: generators, projectors, manifesting generators, manifestors, and reflectors. And like you're a generator, I'm a generator, and we are like life force energy. So we are meant to do what lights us up. We are meant to say yes to things that are like hell yeses to us. And we're meant to say no to things that are not. However, we've been conditioned through people, again, well-meaning people, saying to us, good job when you did that thing that you didn't really want to do. Like, I don't know, maybe you went to go see your grandma when you didn't really want to growing up. Your parents were like, Shelly, that was so great of you. I'm so glad you did that. And you're like, all right, like I'm a good person. So I'm going to keep doing it. And that's just like such a small microcosm. And then that translates into all the decisions that you make. Because you're kind of rewarded for saying yes to things that don't really light you up. When really, as a generator, the thing that people want from you is your juicy life force energy. We power the world. Like we give, like when we're filled up and we're excited about something, it's palatable. You can feel it. That's what happened with photography for me. Like I felt it. It was like, and it was so easy for me to do it. You could just do that thing you love all day long. And that's the thing with generators, right? We generate energy. So it's learning to kind of decondition and trust and faith that things will be okay when I say no. But those are feminine energies. Doing is masculine. Being is feminine. And that is so challenging when you've been rewarded your whole life for being masculine, for doing the thing, for doing
get shit done.
The get shit done. You're the person when anything goes wrong, Shelly will take care of it. She'll know exactly what to do. Or I can give it to Nichole. I can give it to Nichole because she's going to handle it. And I know she will because that's what you've always done. And you've been rewarded for that. So it doesn't surprise me when you're like, I don't really know, but I just know internally that shifting needs to happen. It's like you're going against everything that inside of you've learned for so long that rewarded you. So I think it's kind of cool. So that's kind of like human design in a nutshell and how it's something I'm working with. And it's helping me kind of shift a bit in my own masculine tendency.
One of my wonderful friends and colleagues, Laura DiFrancesco, who owns DSL Law, she owns Flourish Co-working Space. She just published a book. Everyone should check it out. It's about mergers and acquisitions. And we are very much like accountability buddies. We meet once a month, we meet once a quarter, we meet once a year, not once a year, a few times a year for, planning for the next year. Yeah. We are in each other's text messages all the time. Yeah. She is a manifester.
Oh, but that's totally different energy.
Completely. And so it's so funny talking to her because her skill sets are completely different than mine. And so that's why I think we work so well together. And I remember she's the type of person she will be so focused on a project and go, and work for 3 days straight and then sleep for 3 days. Like, it is insane.
That's true manifestor energy, yeah.
Which me, I'm like...
You're not meant to function like that.
6 o'clock, I'm like, yo, like, I gotta, like...
Yeah, I'm done.
Out of here. I'm done. Right? So, and... It's so funny. My massage therapist, she's incredible.
Love that.
She is a massage therapist. She speaks to animals.
Yeah.
For sure. She's a medium.
I love that. She sounds super cool.
She's incredible. Like, her mom was like that. She's a family friend, so we know her entire family.
Yeah.
So, like, her mom was like that, and she just got this gift. And I remember she was, like, doing therapy on me, and I'm like a hypochondriac in some ways. I'm like, tell me everything that's wrong with me. What do you feel?
Fix me.
So it's my chiropractor also, and he's like, you don't want to hear what I have to say. I'm like, cool, thanks.
Also, kudos for you as being a woman and making time for these things in your schedule with a family, with the responsibilities of running a business and a team. And you're like, I go to the massage therapist, I go to the chiropractor. Like, I love that. I love that you do that. I think that's so important for everybody to hear too. That one, it's important to prioritize even if it's not easy. And two, that you're doing it. And like, it's a living example.
And something else drops. Don't be confused. And it's usually work.
Yeah, and that's
usually
okay.
Like, I do it during the work day, and that's the amazing thing about running a business, right?
Yeah.
So I asked her, I'm like, tell me, what do you feel? This was not a relaxing massage. I was like, we were talking. No, we were just talking the entire time.
Okay.
Usually massage, like, calming music. No one's talking. I was like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And as she's like trying to get me to relax. And one thing that she said, she kind of knows me, but like our families have been kind of separate for a while. And she was like, Shelly, one thing I'm feeling from you is like, do you have a creative outlet? I'm like, well, not really. I was like,
my business.
I was like, my business. And she's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean, no? And I'm like, growing up, like, I didn't draw, I didn't paint, I barely played an instrument. I only practiced the few bars that I had to, that they were testing.
For chorus.
Or chorus, whatever.
Yeah.
And even today, like, I don't sing, like, I don't, like, the arts have never been an important part of my life. A part of my life really at all.
Yeah.
And she's like, I really think that you are missing out. Like, your business is missing out, your family's missing out, you are missing out on, like, the creative side. So I'm like, cool, noted. And so I went to Laura, my manifestor friend, and I'm like, how do I schedule in creativity in my schedule? And she's like, Shelly,
that's what
you're missing the point. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't get it. She's like, you can't just schedule being creative. I'm like, yeah, but when am I going to do it? She's like, Shelly. So these are all things that's wrong with me.
That's feminine flow. No, I love that. But that is, I think she brought up such a beautiful point is that, like, yeah, you can't schedule creativity. It just hits you. I love that there's a quote from Mariah Carey. I think everybody knows Mariah Carey at this point. I don't need to explain. She's an icon. And when she would get a intuitive or creative hit for a song, she would be somewhere. She would just go in the bathroom and just like hide in the bathroom and like write out the song. And I think, who was that person? I think Woody Allen did that too. And yeah, creativity is so feminine. It's so feminine in nature because it's very flowy.
Yeah.
And it comes when you least expect it. It usually comes when you're relaxed. I have to find ways to infuse space into my calendar to allow creativity to come through. So to give you a more tactical answer for if you want an answer. So I would say leave space in your calendar. As a generator, that's the most beautiful gift you can give yourself is space. Because that's when the energy will flow through. And you can call it universal energy, you can call it just your biology or how we function as humans. It loves to fill a space, and again, asking yourself, is this what I really want to do at this time? Right? Like, if you're like, oh, I've given myself an hour of nothing on my calendar. Right? That's how you scheduled it in. That's your satisfying your masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
But now you've given yourself an hour. And you're not just going to go reply to emails.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
That's exactly what I expected to do.
Yeah. And you're not going to look at your computer. You're going to go for a walk. You're going to go outside. Or ask yourself, what do I want to do? Do I want to go for a walk? Do I want to go for a drive? Do I want to just sit and read? Right? Do I want to do yoga? However, that being said, you could journal. You could just process that way. I think just allowing yourself space in your calendar is the first step. It's like the simplest thing, and it's so hard, but it can be really, really powerful if you want to tap into your creative juices and just like see what comes up. And like, just, I would say like no technology, like put your phone somewhere else. Also no like, mom, I need like, if you can like really give yourself that hour of space, I think you'll get some beautiful creative.
Being a generator, what are some of the things that you make sure that you do to honor that, and what have been some of those no's that you've been exploring recently?
So the space on my calendar is one. So that was like a true example for my life. And that was something that I used to do a lot of with my calendar. I used to overbook myself constantly. And as a creative, as somebody who does need creativity to do what I think is a very high level, like output, right? To be able to serve a client, like going in and feeling their energy of their brand and really connecting with them and really like empathetically, like I'm a bit of an empath, like going in and saying like, okay, this is who you are and I want to capture your essence. Like that's an energy exchange and I need to create space so I actually can get into your space and do that. So for me, like I used to overbook myself though. So I would do a mood board or for somebody like reading their questionnaire, getting all into that and then do a mood board. And then I would jump onto like a budget call. And I was like, okay, that's not going to work. So, and also I wasn't giving myself time after photo shoots to recoup. That was another big one. I would just like do
production days are exhausting.
And even if you love it, that's what I said earlier. I think it's totally bullshit. When people are like, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. That is complete garbage. You can love what you do and still get tired. You can love what you do and still have to get work done. So I wasn't giving myself enough time to recoup afterwards. I was really literally doing too many shoots in a week as well. Like I had to really limit a lot of, how many shoots I do. So yeah, I had to revamp my schedule. But what I did though was I actually gave myself one full day a week fully for myself, which felt so luxurious and so indulgent and so against everything that I had learned.
What day is that?
It was actually Monday.
Okay.
Which I think is wild too, because that's usually the day everybody's like, let's go.
Yeah. And describe what is fully to yourself. What does that mean?
Oh, so it's a day where I don't have meetings on my schedule. And the intent of my day is to allow creativity and flow to come in. It doesn't mean that I don't do work because it's just in my nature. Like I almost can't help myself sometimes. Like if I take a day off, like I'll be like, let me just respond to this Voxer real quick. But it's coming from a place of like flow. It's like I'll go for walks. Like I'll take my dog for a walk in the park, or I'll take the day and I'll go to the beach and I'll journal, or I would do the internal work that is required, that I feel is required to be a leader in the personal, especially doing the personal development work. And to be a good leader, you have to know yourself, in my opinion. And if you're not giving yourself the space and time to do that, to process your weeks, to process where you're going in a way that suits you best, then I think that's where we end up in this place. A lot of time we've seen like businesses don't thrive, or they fail, or you get burnout, or people get really sick and they have strokes, or there's a whole myriad of things that can go wrong if you're not really giving yourself space. And that's always been something that's important to me. So I gave myself a day, and it could look like whatever I wanted to. It was really the point.
So guys, like I said, that was part 1 of my conversation with Nichole Howard. So please keep an eye out for part 2 that's coming out next week. Make sure you follow, make sure that you get those notifications that part 2 is coming out, because it's a good one. We dive in even deeper to just mindset of entrepreneurship, both kind of what does that look like strategically, and then literally what does it look like tactically, of how we spend our time, why we spend our time in certain ways. So we will see you next week.